What was the worst part of having a ton of siblings? As the only daughter with 8 brothers, I had to cook every meal for 10 people because my mother said cooking was how daughters showed love. My parents had 8 boys before they finally got me, so you'd think they'd be excited about finally having a girl. But the day I turned 7, Mom handed me an apron and said my real education was starting. While my brothers played video games and threw footballs around, I was standing on a stool stirring boiling pots. My mom would hover behind me listing all the ways I was already failing while my skin blistered from grease splatters and my back ached from reaching counters too high for a 7-year-old. By 10, my alarm went off at 4 a.m. every day, because breakfast for 11 people took 3 hours minimum when everyone wanted something different. Parker needed eggs over easy but not runny. Josh demanded fresh pancakes, not reheated ones. Ryan wanted bacon crispy. Ben required oatmeal. Isaac only ate French toast cut in triangles. Miles needed everything on separate plates because food couldn't touch. Dylan changed his mind constantly, and baby Micah screamed if his bottles weren't the perfect temperature. My feet would go numb from standing on cold kitchen tiles and my arms shook from lifting heavy pans, but sitting down meant starting over because laziness ruined food according to Mom. The cooking never stopped because after breakfast came packing 9 different lunches with 9 different preferences, then preparing snacks for whoever was home, then making lunch for the brothers who'd forgotten their packed ones, then more snacks, then starting the 4-hour dinner prep, then dessert, then evening snacks, then midnight sandwiches when teenage brothers got hungry. My fingers were permanently stained yellow from peeling endless potatoes and covered in cuts, and I'd fallen asleep standing up so many times that I learned to prop myself against the counter while stirring. By 13, I was missing school constantly because dinner prep started at 2 p.m. My grades tanked, but nobody cared because what did I need education for when my whole life would be standing in front of a stove until I died? My growth was stunted from malnutrition because I only got to eat leftovers if there were any. I'd sneak raw vegetables while chopping and consider it dinner, while my spine curved from hunching over cutting boards for 16 hours a day. The physical damage accumulated fast because burns that never healed properly turned to scars covering my arms, and my hands looked like a 40-year-old's from the constant hot water and harsh soaps. I developed chronic back pain that made standing agony and sleeping impossible. When I fainted from exhaustion and dehydration, cracking my head on the counter, Mom made me finish dinner with blood dripping into the soup because they needed their meals on time. My brothers saw me as kitchen machinery that existed solely to produce food, and they'd bang on the kitchen door like animals when meals were 5 minutes late. Josh once grabbed my burnt hand and squeezed until I screamed because his steak was overcooked, and Ryan threw a plate at my head when I forgot his extra butter, leaving a scar above my eyebrow. They'd eat directly from pots while I was still cooking, burning my arms with their reaching, and not one of them ever said thank you or offered to help or even acknowledged I was human. At 17, I discovered I'd developed arthritis in my hands from the constant chopping and stirring, and the doctor said I'd need surgery eventually, but my parents refused because who would cook during my recovery? That night, I decided I was done destroying my body for people who saw me as nothing but a food dispenser, so I applied to colleges across the country for anything that would get me away from kitchens forever. When my acceptance letter came for an engineering program with a full scholarship, I thought I'd finally found my